China's emergence as a central actor in global geopolitics has been one of the defining features of the 21st century. Its rise is reshaping power dynamics across continents, prompting nations to reconsider alliances, trade strategies, and security policies. Beijing steadily extends its influence not only through economic investments and military modernization, but also via cultural diplomacy, strategic partnerships, and global governance initiatives, carefully crafted to project power without overt confrontation. This approach blends soft power, economic leverage, and symbolic gestures into a coherent global strategy that rivals traditional Western methods of influence. A striking example of this subtle diplomacy is the recent return of Japan's last giant pandas, Xiao Xiao and Lei Lei, to China. At first glance, the move may appear trivial, but these pandas are more than animals. They are tangible symbols of decades of Sino-Japanese diplomatic engagement. The history of panda diplomacy in Japan dates back to 1972, when China first used pandas to celebrate the normalization of relations. While the official reason for the pandas' return is contractual, the timing coincides with rising tensions in the Asia-Pacific, particularly over Taiwan, regional defense postures, and competition for influence. This event underscores how China wields influence subtly, using cultural and symbolic tools alongside economic and political measures to shape perceptions and assert its global role. Beyond symbolism, China's foreign policy emphasizes economic networks, most prominently through initiatives like the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. The BRI creates infrastructure corridors connecting dozens of countries across Asia, Africa, and Latin America, facilitating trade, investment, and technological exchange while aligning partner nations' strategic interests with Beijing. This economic diplomacy allows China to secure influence without coercion. Complementing this approach is Beijing's promotion of multilateralism and reforms in global governance through initiatives such as the Global Development Initiative, Global Security Initiative, and Global Governance Initiative. These frameworks emphasize sovereign equality, inclusive decision-making, and mutual benefit, offering an alternative to the perceived unilateralism of the Western-led order. They have resonated strongly in the global South, where countries often feel marginalized and view China as a partner capable of providing investment, development, and greater global representation. In Asia, China balances competition with strategic partnerships, engaging diplomatically with Japan, South Korea, and ASEAN nations, while asserting claims in contested areas such as the South China Sea and Taiwan Strait. A similar approach is visible in the Middle East, where Beijing has cultivated relationships with Iran, Saudi Arabia, and other key players through economic ties, energy investments, and diplomacy, stabilizing regions and securing alternative trade routes without military confrontation. By positioning itself as a neutral mediator, China demonstrates growing capabilities as a regional peacemaker and architect of dialogue. In Africa and Latin America, China's strategy emphasizes long-term economic integration. Investments in ports, railways, mining, and energy projects generate trade opportunities while creating strategic leverage, intertwining partner nations' economies with Beijing's. Coupled with its policy of non-interference in domestic politics, this model appeals to governments seeking development without political conditions, presenting a clear alternative to traditional Western aid strategies. Soft power remains central to China's approach. Cultural diplomacy, including panda programs, Confucius Institutes, international media presence, and educational exchanges, reinforces a global narrative portraying China as a responsible actor committed to peace, development, and cooperation. Simultaneously, China's technological and military advancements, investments in AI, 5G, space, and naval capabilities complement these efforts, creating a multi-layered strategy where hard and soft power reinforce each other. China also engages with multilateral institutions, advocating reforms that increase representation for emerging powers. By embedding itself in international frameworks, Beijing shapes global rules, while projecting itself as cooperative and constructive. This strategy is supported domestically by a narrative of national rejuvenation, emphasizing China's historical role as a great power and legitimizing its foreign policy decisions. The intersection of symbolism, economics, diplomacy, and strategic foresight is exemplified by events like the return of Japan's Pandas, reminding observers that modern geopolitical influence relies as much on perception and narrative as on coercion or force. Looking forward, China's rise and pursuit of a multipolar world order suggests that global power will increasingly depend on the integration of economic networks, cultural influence, and strategic partnerships into a coherent vision. As nations navigate these shifts, balancing engagement with competition, cooperation with vigilance, and symbolic gestures with substantive policies will define international relations in the coming decades. Ultimately, China's rise is not merely an economic story. It represents a comprehensive strategy aimed at reshaping the global order. Every diplomatic meeting, infrastructure project, and cultural exchange contributes to this vision, demonstrating that influence in today's interconnected world is exercised through subtlety, foresight, and strategic patience. Those who focus solely on military might or short-term outcomes risk overlooking the deeper currents shaping global geopolitics, as the next era will be defined by sustained, multidimensional strategies reflecting China's ambition, adaptability, and long-term planning.